Welcome back, you guys, to the Can You Scare Me podcast. We're your hosts, Brandon and Kayla.
Yo,
How uh how you been this week? Anything fun and interesting happened to you?
oh, not too bad. Just working a lot as per usual. Making some decent dinners here and there, but
Yeah.
nothing that new and interesting. How about yourself?
Oh, not too much. Not too much. Just getting screwed over by work.
Who isn't, honestly? I can't
Truth.
wait for the singularity whenever money becomes irrelevant.
Yeah.
If only one day. Either that or global warming, whichever happens first. I mean, I'm here for it.
Did you say global warning or warming?
Warming. I probably did say warning, but well,
The
here you go.
globe is
This,
trying to warn us. It's true.
yeah, honestly. What they're saying? Yeah,
Coin the term.
yeah. Global warning about global warming. Here you go. This is it right now. It's not like you've been hearing it everywhere for the last 20 years, anyways. This is
Exactly.
the first warning.
This is the first time we didn't listen.
I've been trying to tell you that you're fucked. That's why all the alien signs are up right now. They've
It's
been
true.
leaving us signs, but like we won't listen.
We don't listen. They're just like, nah, screw you guys. We've been
Okay,
trying to
in
help.
in the realm of like things that could end the world first, what do you think? Like some sort of alien contact, nuclear destruction, uh, fire tornadoes from global warming, the singularity and like AI robots wiping us all out, getting some iRobot shit, or I think those are probably all top of the list right now. At least, what do you think?
It's tough, honestly. It's I also can't help but feel that it's gonna end up being something completely out of left field that like nobody foresaw ever. And everybody's just like, are you fucking kidding me? This is how we go.
It's just gonna be a slow decline. Actually, Rome didn't fall in a day.
Yeah, good point. Good point.
Just a slow downward spiral that we started back in the 60s and
Yeah, I was gonna say, I think we're already on that down
yeah.
swing.
Hey, I mean the apocalypse isn't the same for everybody. I'd bet you people in Ukraine are saying that it's the apocalypse there right now. Can't wait till we get one ourselves. All right, now that we're sufficiently depressed, how about we get a little
Been
spooky?
there for years, my dude.
Yeah, same.
All right, yeah, a little bit spooky, a little bit strange and unusual.
Yeah, what, I don't know. You got any real life scary stories? Try and set the tone here.
I do have a bit of a strange tale. Um, it was right when I moved home back to the area, and went
When you
out
left that
to.
hellhole of Ohio.
Amen. But yeah, no, it was oddly, scarier than Ohio. But we came back and wanted to explore the area that we had just moved to. So we decided we'd pop into a local bar down the road. And being, our first time there, didn't know anybody, so we were just kind of sitting at the bar a little bit. And this guy drops some cash on the ground, and like another guy that I don't know any of these people, but the guy that found the money comes up to me and he was like, what do you want to drink? Anything you want on me? And I was like, no, that's okay. Give the guy his money back. And he was like, nah, screw that guy.
Jesus.
So right. And I was like, no, just give him the money back. Well, then he brings it to the bartender, and the bartender took the money and like got us drinks, and I was like, "No, it
What
goes
the
to that
fuck?
guy." And then
Literally, he just dropped it.
yeah, she like took like two 20s out of the 100 that he dropped, and like set that aside for our drinks and then gave him the other money back. And I was like, I didn't want any of this money. Just give it to him.
Jesus
Give him his
Christ.
money back. And like I tried to explain that like we didn't want the drinks, but they wouldn't take it. Like they wouldn't take no for an answer. So the guy from across the bar sees me, and like I was not trying to like have too much of a conversation because I was starting to get some like not great vibes at this bar.
So real quick, was that the guy who dropped the money originally? Like, what happened to that guy? Is he like
So the guy that
noticing what's
dropped the
going on?
money, so the guy that dropped the money is the one that I like made eye contact with across the bar.
Right, right, right.
And like at this point the bartender had like given him the money back and he like looked over to us and I just kind of like smiled and I was like, "I'm sorry, we tried to give it back to you." And he just loudly yells and he goes, "Holy shit. Holy shit." And like I'm thinking, he's about to like yell about the money, which we
Yeah,
didn't want
right.
to begin with. But no. Instead, he just goes, "Holy shit. You have all your teeth and they're real." And I was so
Oh,
stunned. And I was like, "Wait, what?" He comes from around the other side of the bar, dude. Comes from, and other people are looking now because he like loudly yelled it. He comes around from that side of the bar and comes up to me and he was like, "Oh my God, they're real." And he was like, "Can I see them? Can you open your mouth? Like, can I look at your teeth?"
Jesus Christ.
Dude, I have never been more startled in a bar in my life.
What do you think the percentage was that that guy was currently on meth?
In this area, I think you have much higher odds, much lower odds of finding someone not on meth.
Yeah, that's immediately teeth, for sure meth mouth, right?
Oh, yeah. I mean, that's a vast majority of the area, I
That's
guess.
why he was
Which
so
is why
stunned, because you were like, you just came back to the area, so you haven't got into the meth yet.
it's true. Yeah, no, I haven't. I thought about dabbling a little bit. No, I'm just
Oh my
kidding.
god.
I kid.
You had to follow up that real quick. I was literally just about to like call a hotline. I don't even know what hotline, just a hotline.
Just call all the emergency numbers.
Yeah, calling the unaliving yourself hotline. Just being like, hey, I don't know. I know this isn't your thing,
And I
but I
told
got a
you,
friend.
you were the one. I was on the phone with
We'd
you,
be
and
calling you relatively soon because she's about to do meth.
you were the one that I was on the phone with, and we were talking about that movie you made me watch. I'm thinking of ending things, and I Googled it without typing movie, and my phone just
Oh
glitched out and
yeah, just
immediately just goes, "Call the hotline."
yeah. It was looking out.
Thank you, Google. I
Wow.
appreciate you. Or
I was gonna
Apple,
say you
I
got an
suppose.
iPhone, so like
Yeah.
Steve
But
Jobs
I was
saving
on
lives from the
Google, so I
afterlife.
don't know.
I guess it's what Tim Cook now. I guess I don't know.
I have no idea.
I don't know that garbage Apple. I'm oh what color is
You're
my
the
phone? Green?
garbage.
What's Android on Apple? Green text?
I, yeah, it's green.
Green. Yeah, yeah. I'm proudly green.
Go green. Prevent global warming.
Yeah, prevent global warming. Go green. Screw apples. Oh, well, that's certainly something. I mean, okay, mine's not nearly that well, that insane. But so, I mean, I work for as a delivery person.
Yeah.
And the area that I cover, uh, so well, you were on the phone with me the first time it happened, where we were talking, going back and forth about this podcast, and literally like I just hear this horn blaring. I look over. It's because this old lady coming out from a side street onto like the main road just I literally just like blew through the stop sign and almost T-boned this like pickup truck. He saw her and stopped and just laid on the horn. I was like, all right, whatever. I've seen worse. Well, then literally like the other day, I'm delivering like in the same area, and this same old lady. It's the same car. It's the same old lady. I Immediately, I was like, holy shit, she's doing it again. Because she did the exact same thing again. Drove right out in front of, this time it was like a small car, but, and again, they just lay on the horn. I look over and she's literally like doing the thing where she's got the steering wheel in her chest, leaning forward, like into the windshield.
Oh yeah.
And she doesn't even realize what's going on. I guarantee within the next month, I'm gonna see this lady like hit somebody.
Dude, you found the real life version of Hey Arnold's grandmother.
And just flying through air sections, blowing through red lights,
Yeah, dude,
causing accidents all around while not having any idea what's going on. I see that shit so often, though.
I'm just thinking about that scene though from Hey Arnold where they steal the sea turtle and she just like is tearing down the road and like cackling, laughing. I imagine what that lady's doing and she's like staking you out. She knows where you're gonna be and she's trying to hit you.
She's targeting me.
Yeah, what you don't
That's
know
why
is
it's
there's a
always
hit
right
out on
next to
you.
me. Yeah. Oh,
And what you really don't know is I'm the one that took it out. No, I'm just kidding.
that's a good assassin right there. Literally just an old lady that seems like she has dementia, but it's all just an act. She just
Right? And
runs people down.
she even like makes you like think that yourself by like staking you out for a couple times, letting you see she's a bad driver. It's
Yeah,
all a
yeah.
mind game.
She's gonna pin me between my truck and her car, and
She's
just
gonna she's gonna outlive us both.
literally just laying on the accelerator the entire time, wheels spinning. I'm screaming, people are running to stop her, and then she slowly backs up, takes off, and she's like, "Oh, I'm sorry, officer. I didn't even realize. I don't even know what's going on right now.
This isn't my living room.
How
You're
would
not Billy.
I'm driving a car right now. Oh, well, I thought I was walking my dog with my daughter, but
I'm
oh,
supposed to be babysitting my granddaughter.
that's how she gets away with it, though. Best assassin in the world.
She tells the officer she dropped something and then she just goes and steals his cruiser and just peels out.
They run her off the road, throw the spike strips. She rolls the car 8 times, gets
It's
out, and starts
it's
walking
the
away. They tase her, and she's just like, "Where am I?"
it's the new car chase.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, all right. Well, with that, I mean,
I
not
gotta
as spooked as setting the tone could be, but
No, but
in
I
any
gotta
case,
I got a pretty good short little story here to start us off.
okay. I got one that's also not gonna be long, but it's not really a story that I cannot wait to tell you about. But
Yeah,
I'll let you lead into it. I'll save this. Let you build the anticipation.
yeah, I'm just gonna be sitting here the whole time just being like, the fuck is it?
I'm excited because this is something I think could really freak you out.
Oh dear. Most things do though, honestly.
This though, it's relevant as hell.
Oh no. All right. Here we go. So, the title is When I Was 8 years old, my mom told me the exact date and time I would be murdered. Halfway through
Okay.
an episode of SpongeBob SquarePants, our foster mother ruined our lives with 4 words: "You're going to die." According to mom, we were going to die at 17 on exactly the same day, May 3rd, 2024.
She's the grandma that's driving the car. She's gonna have her kid in the car with her.
Oh no, I'm gonna have to keep you on the phone that day. My brother and sister were scheduled to die at 4:13 p.m. and 4:17 p.m. I
Okay,
would
real
die
quick,
at
I'm not even lying. That is literally like the exact time I've seen her both times.
oh dear.
Talking.
Uh, I would die at 4:50 p.m. My mom said the only way to escape our deaths was to kill our murderer first. And so began our brutal training. We had self defense classes in the morning with Dad, who was surprisingly a good fighter, and weapons handling in the afternoon with Mom. Our parents would pay friends to sneak up on us. Expect the unexpected was what they nailed into our heads. Our murderers could be anyone and anywhere. As a kid, I failed. I jumped into a woman's car posing as our great Aunt Helen, only for her to drug my chocolate milk and bring me right back home where my mother was awaiting to chastise me for being naive. I did get better. Over the years, my training ripped away my childhood. By the age of 16, I used every waking minute to train. Jet took me down in self defense exercise, only for me to leap onto his back and rip out his hair. We all had our respective talents. Jet was the best fighter, while Wendy and I were better with weapons. 17 arrived, and on the day of our murder, I was ready. Still insisted on us attending school, so I was making my way home. I was going to die at 4:50 p.m. Slowing my pace, I glimpsed a shadow bleed from the corner of my eye. I let him get closer to me. Closer. This was it. Poppy, the man's voice tickled the back of my neck. It is Poppy, isn't it? I felt almost intoxicated, excited with the idea of taking down my killer. Twisting around, my hands were already wrapped around the butt of my gun, just like Mom taught me. Bang. With one shot, he was dead. In his pocket, a photo of me and my siblings. I killed him. I almost cried, my chest heaving. Mom and Dad had turned us into killers, but crying felt good. Human. When I got home, I greeted my family in song. Mom, guess what? I killed our killer. Only to step into seeping scarlet stretching across the marbled hallway. In front of me was my sister's body, twisted and mangled out of shape. My mom was standing with Jet's headless torso over her shoulder, a wide smile across her lips, polluted eyes resembling nothing staring back. A single glance at the clock on the wall told me it was 4:49, which couldn't be right. Mom, dropping my backpack, I ducked to grab the blade nestled into my sock before something cold and cruel sliced across my throat. Dad. What did I say? Dad chuckled in my ear. Expect the unexpected. That's it.
Yeah, I had a feeling right off the rip though that like the I kind of did expect the unexpected there. I was like, ah, nah, this bitch crazy with the mom.
Yeah.
I
Also, who's
knew there
just
was
looking
gonna
at
be
their
something
kids and
there.
being like, guess what? I know
Also,
exactly when you're gonna die.
right, couple holes though. One, she had a gun like in her hand. She just shot somebody with it. Yet she's like bending down to get a knife out. Like, come on, what?
Yeah, rookie moves, man.
Yeah,
Rookie
what do
moves.
you see dead bodies, you have a gun on you. Nah,
Yeah,
let me
why did
just
we
bend down
switch
and get this
weapons
knife out of my
midway
sock.
through?
Yeah.
And
Nah.
also, like, that requires you to get close, like, close in combat, you know? Whereas a gun, you shoot from where you're at and you book it.
She wanted to be personal.
She did say they turned her into a killer.
Yeah. But yeah, man, on top of that too, what's up with the dude having the pictures of their family? Like,
I'm
'cause
thinking that maybe have been, I think, my interpretation of it, I think that was like a cop that
well, see,
like
that's
was
what I
maybe
thought at first too. With
investigating.
like,
But that's a real weird way to for like somebody to come up and be like, "It is Poppy, isn't it?"
well, but not even that. Just like when she saw like the bodies of her like siblings on the floor, I was like, oh, cops know that like her siblings were killed. They were just going to like
Oh,
protect her, and
I didn't
but
even
since
think
the
about
parents are
them.
still there, the cops
Oh,
wouldn't know about it yet.
yeah. But it could be something like they were investigating her, like child services had sent somebody out to investigate.
True.
Just because
It's like a social worker.
I'm sure the neighbors saw them doing these weapons training, and like maybe the fact that the girl's chocolate milk was drugged by a strange lady. in a car pretending to be her great aunt. Maybe one of the neighbors was like, I don't think these parents should be doing that.
Yeah, very true. That honestly probably the most straightforward thing with it. And literally, I'm just imagining like the neighbors like phone call to like 911, just like, "Hey, my neighbors are out back right now beating the shit out of their children. They just gave them a knife too. I think they're."
They call back like 2 days later and they're like, my neighbors just paid me $80 to attack their children.
Yeah, literally. It's like, what? How does it go on this far, too? You know, because like if they've been training them for years too,
Right.
why is
Like,
it
'cause it
only
started
now?
when they were kids.
Yeah, that's what I'm
And
saying,
also, are
man.
they all the same age? Like, are they triplets? Because
True.
it said, like, when they're 17, they die. So are they all triplets?
Maybe it was just like a like a typo, and they were just talking about like when she was 17. Also, too, when she knew it was going to be at 4:50 p.m. and she was walking home from school, that would put it at like what, like 3:20. So that was my first thing where it's like, no, you're like an hour early on this, Chica. Like, what you
Yeah.
doing?
Yeah. No,
Too jumpy.
yeah, yeah, she was just ready to kill somebody. She
Yeah,
didn't
she was.
even care. Dude,
Yeah,
if anybody would have come up to her, she would have shot them.
yeah. That day, her best
She
friend
just
comes up to her in the hallway. What's her name? Poppy.
copy.
Hey, Poppy, how? Boom.
She just pulls the knife out of her sock.
She shoots her best friend, then security comes and she just takes the knife out, drops the gun on the ground, still fully loaded, minus one bullet, reaches down, takes a knife out. I
My
wanted to be
question,
personal.
my question too, though, is why, if the parents' intention was to kill them the whole time, why would you train them to fight back?
They want, they wanted the challenge. It was a game.
That's messed up.
This is actually their like third set of kids. They're
Oh
actually
god,
like 60,
that's why the
70
guy
years
was
old.
looking
Yeah,
into him.
that's what I was saying. The parents are actually the grandparents, like I said at the beginning, man. Yeah, no, they're on their like third set of kids. None of them have succeeded yet. Now they're too old to have children again, so they're gonna adopt the next set and start training them, get them ready. See if they'll be the victors this time.
Oh no.
Just a 85-year-old woman going at it. That's when she gets behind the wheel of the car and becomes the world's best assassin, man.
Oh no. We've come full circle.
Yep, we're there. Uh, okay, so the shorter thing that I've got here. This isn't really a story. I just wanted to like tell you some shit. And
Oh, okay.
we'll see how you react. So I know
Poorly.
I don't know if this is too much information, but you're gonna be going to Chicago relatively soon for a work trip. Uh, so I found some things around Chicago, which actually what set me off about this was I saw a YouTube video earlier today about, well, you know what? I'll just tell you straight up, a possible serial killer in Pittsburgh that the police are kind of keeping quiet.
Oh.
And found out that it's actually a thing in Chicago as well. Where I don't know if you've heard of this. It was something that was like kind of TikTok famous for a little bit. Was like the smiley face killer.
Yeah, I've heard.
So there have been multiple ones, but this smiley face killer is honestly there's not a lot to go on there. Like it is a lot of speculation. And there's a bunch of things that it could be, but it's interesting because Pittsburgh and Chicago were kind of the two main cities that were like being talked about, but other major cities as well, where young adults in their like 20s to early 30s go out drinking with friends, leave on their own, end up. There have been a couple times where there was surveillance footage of them getting like taken into a white van, and then they're found a couple days later like in a body of water that's like nearby. Like in Pittsburgh there's Three Rivers. So
Well, I
that's
mean,
where.
nothing good comes from being taken in a white van.
Well,
You can
and
assume it's
that's kind of the thing though, where like so Chicago specifically, they're talking about 16 individuals being pulled from water either in the lake or in the Chicago River or Lake Michigan or the Chicago River. Um, and it's in this article I was looking at for Chicago specifically was 11 men, 5 females. 3 were ruled accidental, 2 were like ruled suicides. Uh, and like 13 of them are like undetermined. Uh,
they all just killed themselves or like accidentally found their way into the river
well,
after
that's the
being taken in the van.
well, okay, but the van's not like a like it is a thing that's happened in a couple instances where there was this guy Patrick something in Pittsburgh where there was CCTV footage of him walking behind this van like crossing a red light, like
Hmm.
crossing the street at an intersection, and then like the van is stopped there and then the van like peels off and like runs the red light and the guy's gone, so it seems pretty much like he got pulled into the van and they found his body a couple days later in like the
Yeah.
river. Not only that though, the reason that it's called this potential serial killer is being called the smiley face killer is that there's a common theme of a graffitied smiley face like either on the bar or like across the street from the bar showing up like the day that they go missing, or either at the place they go missing from or at the location that they're found.
Dude, I promise you, if I'm out in Chicago and I see one smiley face,
But but
I'm
that's
just
another
jumping
thing
in the
though
river
too. Like,
myself. I'll make it easy for him. I'll just jump in myself. I'm ending it. I'm not doing it. I'm
but
not
that's
gonna
another
play
thing
that
too
game.
though that like smiley face graffiti is also kind of common, and a lot of the deaths that where they're pulling
How
bodies out of water
dare.
after people have been missing for a couple days, it is one of those things where like you know a drunk young adult walking near a body of water, you fall in, it's cold out, like you're fucked up, like people drown.
Oh
It
yeah.
does happen. But the reason that it's a little bit odd is like that's a thing that's been happening forever. People being drunk, falling into water, drowning.
Right.
Uh, However, Chicago specifically, those numbers are up. Like, it's been a pretty consistent trend of like, a couple a year. But 2023, it went from a couple, well, over the last couple, I believe the number started going up in like 2008. But in 2022, that number was at like 16. Now, it might just be more people living in the city, moving to the city, that kind of thing. But there is a little bit of like some strange coincidences there.
Yeah.
But not only that, that's only one potential thing. I also found out a little thing about what they call the Chicago Strangler, which is a
That's what
what
I want to hear about right now.
yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you. I'm so excited for my trip.
Yeah. So with this, the Chicago Strangler, again, this is like a potentially theorized like serial killer. So, look into the Chicago Strangler a little bit. Since 2001, at least 50, the number's higher than that, but there were about 50 women that were all murdered in a similar fashion where they were, I mean, you don't have to worry as much here because mostly these were prostitutes. Not all of them, though. One of the first victims was actually like a mom with 2 children. So, but
Yeah.
all of them were strangled, partially or fully stripped, and then left in either abandoned buildings, alleys, garbage bins, parks, or snowdrifts. Now, out of those 50, 25 of those cases were closed, but 25 still remain open. Uh, but out of those 50, a large percentage of them were committed in like the same 3 districts of the city, located on the south and west sides of Chicago. I know you're gonna be near there.
Thank you. I am so pleased with this information. And what makes it even funnier is like every time I have to travel for work, my family just calls me and like bombards me with calls and they're like, "Don't get murdered, don't go with strangers, don't do
Yep.
this, don't do that." And I'm like consciously I'm like, "Yeah, no, I'm not stupid. I wouldn't do that." But then if a situation arises, I almost always pick the worst option. Like I
Yeah.
don't know why my brain is self-sabotaging and it's like do it. Go with them. See what happens. What's the worst that's gonna happen?
Let's fucking roll the dice, have some fun. You only live once, but tonight could be the end. Who knows? Maybe.
That's the fun.
Yeah, that's the fun. Live on the edge, all adrenaline, all the time. That's the kind of person I know you are.
It's true.
Nah, but a little
Debauchers.
bit more on the Chicago Strangler, though. It was a pattern that was like recognized in 2018 with cases that kind of follow this same pattern going back to 2001. Um, and you know, MAP literally thinks that these factors are indicative of an active serial killer. Not to say that there for sure is one, but you know, it is something
I
that.
mean, probably.
Yeah, I mean, if there was, I mean, that's a
What
pretty
what is the statistic on that? Like how many killers are
13.
typically operating? Yeah.
I think it's out of the U. Well, in the U.S., I think they believe up to 13 could be active currently,
Yeah.
if I'm not mistaken. The fact that I just pulled that number out so fast too, if it's right. How many active serial killers
You keep
in the
tabs because you're one of
USA?
them.
What's that?
I said you
Oh,
keep
I was
tabs
way
on
wrong.
them because you're one
Okay.
of them.
Nah, I mean, good that I was wrong and just didn't have that
Yeah.
information on
I was
lock.
gonna say
But
that actually brings me some level of comfort that you did not have that so quickly offhand.
well, this is gonna make you more upset though. I was low.
Oh no.
They actually say 25 to 50 at any
Oh
given
my
time.
God. Oh no.
And that's just in the US.
Dear Lord.
Yeah. So that's something. Have a fun trip to Chicago, Maine.
Yeah. Any of the killers in Chicago, please avoid me. Even though I am the perfect target, probably.
Yo, I'm gonna pull this up as well real quick. Go ahead and just pull up my stream. I know no one else at home's gonna be able to see this too. I just want you to see it though.
This.
Here's where you're staying.
Oh,
Here's where all the cases are.
good. Right next door.
Yep.
Excellent. Imagine this just gets like live streamed.
Yeah.
They now know exactly where I am.
But yeah, I mean that's what I got there. Like I said, not really a story, just some information I thought you would hate to hear.
I do. You were correct in that. I mean, I guess we never specified that these had to be stories to freak each other out.
Nah, I'm just trying to freak you out. That's it.
You succeeded.
Good.
Excellent.
Very good. I'll see you in Chicago.
You take off work just to come and fuck with me. Everywhere I go, you're just out there spray painting smiley faces.
Yeah, literally.
You
Figure
rent a
out
windowless white van.
figure out what your hotel room's gonna be. I'll just spray paint a smiley face right on the door.
Oh my god. Dude, go so far as to even make up like a fake missing person poster for me. Like that Criminal Minds episode. Oh, I hated
Put it
that.
right outside the hotel. So the
Yeah.
day that the smiley face is on the door, you walk out of the hotel, you see a missing persons poster for yourself. That's scary right there.
Yeah, yeah. No, like I said, I would willingly just go walk 'em right into the river, make it easy for them.
Well, but on top
I
of
would
that, though, the
hate to
Chicago Strangler
inconvenience
stuff
them.
and the smiley face killers, there have been multiple bodies pulled out of the water too that had signs of strangulation as well.
Ah.
So maybe they're one and the same. If it's even a real thing. Because the whole smiley face killer thing though, that's something that like it's kind of one of those like urban legends kind of things where it seems
Mhm.
like every city has talks of like this smiley face killer. Because like I said, it was
Like
a
a
big
more
thing that
modern day boogeyman for
yeah,
adults.
pretty much. Like literally like I saw it being talked about like with like Pittsburgh and then found stuff within Chicago, but people also mention it in New York. Yeah, like you said, like more of a modern day boogeyman.
Yeah.
But the Chicago Strangler, that one's actually got some legs.
Hmm. Great.
Because yeah, I mean like the the smiley face killers, the fact that it's all people that were like found in water. The only thing that gets me though is like there were I think 3 cases that I found where they actually had footage of like this white van on like CCTVs, like on like traffic light cameras and stuff.
Right.
And it is something that people who were like some of the last people to see the like missing person have also mentioned the white van, also usually mentioning another vehicle that like follows the white van or is like with the white van. Like this white van and another car commonly seen together when people were going missing. But again, that's a lot of like urban legend, like modern boogeyman stuff because when you
Yeah.
see white vans, just the fact of that one, I believe it was like Patrick something. I wish I could know his full name. Uh, Let me see where, yeah,
Yeah.
people had specifically you see in the video that he walked behind this white van and then Patrick Rohall. That's it.
Mm.
And then white van takes off. He's gone. Was it in 2017?
Was his death was one that was ruled an accident?
I originally, yes. I'm pretty sure they switched that to a cold case, though. Well, I mean, it's a cold case now, but I'm pretty sure that originally it was ruled like an accidental drowning, but then it got switched to a unsolved homicide
Yeah.
later on. But yeah.
These darn people strangling themselves and just throwing themselves into the river. Accidentally, of course.
Well, I mean, it's the same kind of thing that just happened to, I don't know if you heard about, but in Kentucky this winter, there was those 3 guys that the guy was having a party where they were like watching football, and then his like 3 friends like left, and then he woke. Well, there was 5 of them there. One left early and went home. Then the other 3 like left, and he went to bed. Then he woke up in the morning, and the 3 of them were like in his backyard dead. And then the dude went like
Oh
unresponsive.
my God.
Yeah, and it wasn't that cold out either. It was like in the 40s that night. Because originally people were thinking that like, they froze, they got super drunk, passed out, froze to death. But it wasn't that cold out. And also the fact that like, well, okay, if they lock themselves outside, like, why wouldn't they not just like knock on the door, or, like ring the doorbell and try and get back in? So then they were
Right.
thinking that
Or
this
like
guy did
call
something
them.
to him, and he went unresponsive, like.
Mm.
But it came out though that he actually ended up going to rehab, and once the toxicology report came out, they found that the 3 of them had like lethal doses of like fentanyl in their system.
Ooh.
Yeah,
I was gonna say, like, did he witness something really bad and he went like non-responsive because he couldn't like deal with the trauma?
yeah, right. There was
But
a
no,
lot
that's a
there, but
that's
yeah.
a that's a far more real answer that they died of a fentanyl overdose than like,
And he
serial
didn't
killer.
know. He thought they left, and he was also on drugs and like just went to sleep, and he ended up putting himself in rehab like immediately because his 3 friends died of an OD, and he was yeah.
My God. I mean, that's so sad. Like, to lose anybody sucks, but to imagine like waking up and you just like walk to your door and like just 3 of your friends are just dead in your yard. Like, what?
Yeah,
Oh
absolutely
my
wild.
God. That's horrible.
Yeah. But with that, I mean, I've got another story. Well, like a
I also
legit
have
story I can
I
run.
have one last story. So should I read mine and then you?
Yeah, let's go for it. We might go a little long this time, but why not?
Little ping pong back and forth.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. My next one that I'm gonna get to, it's not long, but it's not short either, but
Mine's decently short. I went mostly with short ones this time because I am writing another story for next week.
plus we got that joint one we've been working
Yep.
on.
Yep, working on that little
Yes.
little
No
skit.
spoilers.
Oh,
But
all
all right,
right.
go ahead. Let's get into it.
Here we go. Mommy and Daddy tell me to ignore the screams coming from the basement. Coachella, hotel, and ticket are too loud.
Man, real quick, you're going real hard on the kid stuff this week.
Yeah, I didn't mean to, but here we are.
Great. Fantastic.
My deepest apologies to the audience. None to you,
Not
though.
me though? Okay, all right.
Yeah,
I see how it is.
none to you. Um, Coachella Hotel and ticket are too loud. Daddy said I'm not allowed to question them. Daddy said his friends are hurt and he's making them better. They didn't look hurt when he brought them in. I was eating cookies in the kitchen when the sliding glass doors opened. Daddy stumbled through, his arms wrapped around a soaking wet girl. She was older than me. Two boys were behind her. They looked like high schoolers, or maybe older.
Is
Mommy
this gonna
grabbed
be a
my...
Bridge to Terabithia kind of thing? Because
No,
I don't
don't even
like it.
get me started. Don't even get me started. Mommy grabbed my face and gently turned my head to look at her. Keep looking at me, Rosie, she said. She told me, her eyes wide. In the corner of my eye, one of the boys dropped to his knees, and my dad pulled him back up, pushing him through the door to the basement. Fucking move, boy. I liked talking to them. The three of them were behind a big glass screen like a human zoo. They were boring. All they did was cry. One boy was dark haired, the other light, and the girl had pigtails like me. I asked their names, and the dark haired boy sat up. Coachella, his expression lit up, vacant eyes flickering to life. We we need to get to Coachella. And I need to buy my ticket, the girl giggled into the floor. And we still haven't figured out where we're staying. That was all they said. The same thing over and over again. Coachella, ticket, hotel. So that's what I named them. Coachella said he could do a cool trick, but Daddy dragged me away before I could see it. When Daddy's other friends came to see him, I was told to stay upstairs with Mommy. There was a lot of people in black suits, women in pretty dresses. Thanks for coming, everyone, Dad told his friends. Let's start the auction. Coachella stood, his eyes were empty. The strips of white around his head were now red. Red was everywhere, dripping from his face, licked between his fingers. Ticket and hotel were on their knees. S3, show them what you can do. Coachella thrust two fingers into his right temple. Starting bidding at $3 million. Three is the very first psych- psychokinetic. I did not read through this before.
Psychokinetic?
Yeah,
Psychokinetic?
psychokinetic. My brain short.
Psychokinetic? Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. Coachella met my gaze. His lips were twitching. He was going to show me his magic trick. S3. Dad's head exploded, a fountain of scarlet splashing onto the ground. Mommy pushed past me, grabbing the blood-slicked microphone. When Coachella tried to run, Mommy grabbed him by the hair, violently dragging him back, pinning his hands behind him. Let me go, Coachella shrieked. I want my... She slammed her hands over his mouth, forcing the others to their feet. Starting bidding at $4 million, she gasped out. Going once. Call the police, Coachella muffled to me. Tell them my name is... Mommy kicked him in the face, forcing Coachella to the ground. When he jumped up, she pointed a gun at his face. Go upstairs, Rosie. Daddy is a bad man, but I think mommy is worse.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
I'm so
I like
confused.
briefly like skimmed through it before I just read it there. So like I didn't read like a majority of it. I was just
Yeah,
kind of
yeah, yeah.
skimming through it beforehand.
But
But
still, like, what? It's another one of those where I'm just like, what is going on?
yeah.
I, um, I, I mean, specifically mentioning like Coachella and stuff. When did Coachella start? That's more of a modern concert, right? Festival.
Yeah. I
If
think
they would have been referencing like Burning Man instead, I would have said like maybe like an MK Ultra kind of thing.
okay, so apparently the first Coachella was actually in 1999.
Yeah, but that's still MK Ultra. I think was like back in the '80s, right?
I
So
know, but I'm saying I thought Coachella was like slightly more new than that, you know?
yeah, because that was my first. But they were also taking bids on them. I mean,
Well, that and like
really, too.
the guy the guy had like a bandage around his head and like they had clearly done
Done something
something
to
to
him.
him that he can now put his fingers like into his brain.
Well, wait,
Like
was that what he was
yeah, he
doing?
like he when they said that
Okay,
he like put the like his fingers into his right temple.
right. I mean, I didn't picture it that way. I was picturing it just like old school movies whenever somebody's like doing psychic shit where they like put their fingers up to their temples. That's how I
Mm,
was picturing it. Like not in, but like I guess they did say in.
yeah.
Would have been on, I guess.
Well,
Did
but the
something to make
bleeding
him make it.
bandage on the head
Right.
tells me that there was like an open wound he like put his fingers in, and then that was like causing his lips to like twitch.
Right. And that made the dad's head explode.
True. True.
So I mean, it was something like he was some kind of like
The
psychic there from
psychokinetic.
somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah, psychokinetic. I don't even know. Is that like a
Or
real word? I'm sure it is.
psychokinesis, yeah. Psychokinetic is just the shortened version.
Yeah. Well, it's not even short, and I think it's the exact
I
same
know,
amount
I
of
know,
letters.
I know, I know.
Relating to changing the state or position of a physical object using only the power of the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean,
And then like telekinesis.
well, but psychokinesis is also like the same thing. The supposed ability to move objects by mental effort
Yeah, I
alone.
think is
Telekinesis
telekinesis
is
just
like the
the
same
same?
thing.
Yeah, is it just like a different word for it, or is it actually just like slightly different?
Telekinesis is a
Is that
hypothetical
is
physical ability allowing an individual to influence a physical system without physical interaction.
mm, yeah.
All
That,
kinds of magic
that's the
shit.
one.
Pyrokinesis,
Isn't is yeah,
telepathy.
yeah, yeah.
Interesting. Not so much scared on my end, so much as just like
Uncomfortable.
intrigued and slightly confused.
Fair enough.
Like
Yeah.
I said, man, I was scared it
That's
was gonna
still
go
like
the way of Bridget to Terabithia, though.
I told you my school made us watch that in like elementary school,
Yeah,
right?
that's insane.
I still to this day have no rhyme or reason as to why they would have made us watch
Did
that.
somebody in your elementary school pass away
There was like two guys in the
before
high
they made you
school.
watch it?
There was like two guys on the high school team. I can't remember if it was before we watched it or after we watched it, but they like drowned and we did like bracelets and stuff for them, but they also had a younger brother that was like younger than me, and the
In the
whole
elementary
school had
school
to
with you
watch.
with
Yeah.
yeah.
And the whole school had to watch these movies, so I don't remember if it was like before or after. I mean, the only reason I could imagine them showing us that movie would be because of that, so I feel like it had to be
Well, yeah.
after.
Like I
But
okay, I'm
also,
not
that's
gonna
like a kind
say
of a messed up thing for the school
oh
to
yeah,
do.
it's super fucked up. I was gonna say I get it. I get the pitch. You know what I mean? Like during some parent teacher con well not parent teacher conference, but like some teacher meeting.
Yeah.
Somebody was probably just like, hey, they're dealing with this real situation. This movie is about a kid dealing with this like exact same
I almost
situation,
I almost
kind of like
wonder
as a
if
grief counselor type of thing. Except that fucking bad move. But I can see
I
the pitch
almost
where it like came
wonder
up.
I almost wonder if like they didn't watch the movie before and they had only seen like the trailer or like heard a general synopsis
But
of
it's
it
the
and
fact
then
that
they
like
were
two
like,
kids
"Oh,
drowned and the kid was in the elementary school with the younger brother. They
yeah.
they would have had it's too coincidental for them to not have known what it was about. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I understand where they're coming from. Fucking dog shit move to show a bunch of kids, but like
I just
I
remember
do
that
get
like
it though of like, hey, here's a situation that the movie is literally about like dealing with the grief from it
yeah.
at like a very young age. So I get it,
I don't think I watched
but
that movie since then because it kind of traumatized me as a
yeah,
child. Like it was too
understandably
much for
so.
me to like wrap my brain around back then. And I just remember like everybody was crying. Like
My
everybody in the
fucking
whole
god.
school was crying. And we were just like it was so sad and so uncomfortable. And like to this day, like I swear I think I've blocked so much of it out.
I want to know what teacher or principal made that decision and what their reaction was immediately following that.
Right.
Are they
I
just sitting there
imagine
with
like
like their head in their hands, just like, oh my fucking god, why did we do that? Why would who's okay? I'll put this on somebody else. Who's the
just
least
looking
favorite teacher
around.
here? Greg? It was Greg's idea. Get him the fuck out of here. We're done.
God damn it, Greg.
It's like the eccentric art teacher that was like, I suggested we do pottery of a lake. You all wanted to put on Bridge to Terabithia. Don't put this on me.
Yeah, like just some other like one of the counselors is just like, we warned you this was a bad idea. We told you, just tell them, hey, if you need to talk to somebody, counselors are here. We'll get you somebody, but don't do
No,
this.
they had to show Bridge to Terabithia, the most depressing movie that everyone thought was a kids movie.
Yeah, just because it had some kids in it did not make it a
Well, the
kids movie.
trailer just literally made it seem like it was gonna be like a
Yeah,
Narnia.
yeah, it's just some kids having some fun crossing this
And it
bridge, like
starts
just
out that way too,
I
but
know.
real fast. So fast.
Dude, I remember the freaking wave coming in and like sweeping her off of the bridge and
Oh,
like destroying the bridge and I like oh my the sadness for young Josh Hutcherson.
yeah. Honestly, though, great movie if you
Oh
want to
yeah.
feel sad. But
Yeah. I should
still,
watch that again one day. Maybe I can reclaim the memories that I've blocked out.
come back in hot. Next episode, you're just gonna be like crying, like I just watched Bridge to Terabithia again, and it brought me right back.
Yeah. I'm uh I'm afraid that's exactly how that would go.
Well, hey, I mean, I'm sure in your case, though, for you watching that movie versus watching Snakes on a Plane, which one would freak you out? Well, that one would just make you sad.
Yeah, I was
Okay,
gonna
if
say
it was
those
a
are
toss
very
up,
polar opposites to
yeah,
compare.
exactly. That's what. But I'm just saying, like between the two, which one would you choose?
Obviously, I would choose Bridge to
Okay,
Terabithia.
I figured that's where it was gonna go.
I
But if
would
you don't want to
rather
feel
I
sad,
would rather be sad than probably just die of anxiety.
Snakes on a Plane is kind of a funny movie, though.
Yeah, I mean,
Actually,
I'm sure at this point I never watched it because even just like seeing pictures of snakes makes my skin crawl
yeah.
and makes me absolutely panic that one is suddenly now on the floor at my feet, about to lunge and strike.
It's one of those that like it's like such a cheesy like horror movie that it's funny.
Yeah, to be fair though, even some of those kind of freak me out depending what they're about. Like that movie Dead Silence with that ventriloquist puppet.
I
The
don't think I've
first
ever
time,
seen that one.
oh, my dad made me watch it the one time because I wanted to watch it and I kept hounding him about it. So finally, he had one of his friends burn us a DVD of it
Mm.
back in, ancient times when we did that. Uh, but he burned the DVD for me and then demanded to watch it with me. And I got so freaked out, and my dad was laughing so hard at me. And then that night, while I was sleeping on the couch because I fell asleep, he like came out in the middle of the night and scared the hell out of me.
Mm.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's I
But it's
I don't
also
blame
one
your
of those
dad
like
though. I mean, that's a
stupid
good
movies
move.
that shouldn't be scary.
Yeah, right. Well, okay. So, I mean, I feel where your dad's. Was he trying to scare you?
Yes,
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. So,
it was
I
very
feel like I've
intentional.
probably told you this story before, but oh, what was the movie? Oh, it was what's it called? It's the one where like the guy finds the VHS tapes in the attic, and he's trying to write like a true crime book about this like unsolved murder. And he finds these VHSs in the attic that show like the families. There's like five
Are you
families
talking about the
being murdered in like
Sinister?
brutal. Yeah, sinister.
Sinister.
Yeah, yeah. So we were watching this was like family movie night when I was like 18, 17, something like that. Because my family's fucked up. We watched a lot of horror movies. We bonded over it. Now you can see where I got the way I got, but
Yeah, it's all making sense now.
but so we were watching Sinister, and my sister was sitting on the couch, and I had already seen Sinister once with like some buddies, so I knew like where the like jump scares were. So I
Right.
was like sitting in the kitchen, which was like back behind the living room couch, and so I knew there was like this crazy jump scare coming up, and it was the jump scare where like the lawnmower's going, and then there's a guy that's about to get his face run over by the lawnmower. It was that scene,
Mm.
and I real silently got down on the floor and crawled over behind the couch. And right as that scene was like happening, I jump over the couch, scream, grab my sister like around the shoulders, and yank her backwards over the couch while yelling. Oh man, she was screaming, but then she laughed about it, found it funny immediately afterwards. So yeah, like I said, you can see where I get my fucked up sense of humor and stuff, because those were the things that we did.
You are a bad big brother.
Hey, like I said, she found it funny almost immediately afterwards.
You would have caught these hands, my friend. The
Yeah, I mean,
one
I did.
time,
I'm pretty sure I took a shot in there at some point, but
dude, my brother used to try and scare me, and like, but it was more out of like, he wanted to see if I could defend myself if I had to. So he would like try and surprise attack me. So the one time I was getting home from school, and he had gone so far as to like literally hide his car, like drove it up behind our shed so that it wouldn't be visible when I was walking up, so I would just assume he was gone. And he like kept the doors and everything locked, so I would, keep assuming he was gone. And I unlock the door and I open it, and like right where you open the door, right off to the right is like the doorway to the laundry room. And it was just pitch dark in the house, because there wasn't any lights in the hallway turned on there and there was no windows. So it's just very dark, and I open the door, and like before I even walk in, my brother just springs out from the laundry room, and he just yells, and out of instinct, I just kicked him so hard, so hard, and he hit the ground so fast, and his voice went up like 4 octaves to the
oh, so you're
point
talking crotch shot.
oh yeah, dude.
Yeah,
I'm
okay.
to the point that I'm surprised that I have a niece and
I was
nephew.
gonna say, but you still have a niece and a nephew, so I mean, I guess things still worked.
Surprisingly so, yeah.
Okay, so
All he said though was, "I'm so glad to know you can protect yourself."
I mean, there you go. He was just at least he didn't give you a date and time you were gonna die before giving you that training.
During SpongeBob, don't
Yep.
ruin one of my favorite shows.
All right, so I do have this one other story. Run a little bit long this time, but I think we ended off with one more here. get
Yeah.
back on the spook.
Yeah, give me some nightmares before bed.
That hottest new drug, the spook. Let me just go do
Just
snort a
double check
real.
for fentanyl on that though.
Yeah, just get yourself some free test strips. You
Test
can
your
get them from.
spook.
Yeah, test your spook out before you rail that line. All right, let's take this spook straight to the dome. You ready? All right. So, we'll just say this one's called Attention Shoppers. Attention shoppers, came a male voice over the intercom. Please move to the back of the store immediately. The back of the store, I whispered to Daniel. Don't they mean the front of the store to pay for our stuff? It was 8:50 p.m., 10 minutes till closing time. We'd brought our two kids on out on this late night Walmart excursion in hopes of burning off some energy. Instead, they just thrown tantrums for new Legos and Hot Wheels. It was a disaster. But apparently, the disaster was just beginning. Please move to the back of the store immediately, the voice repeated overhead. This is not a drill. I glanced around, and the other shoppers were just as confused as I was. An old lady looked up at the ceiling, scrunching her face. What the hell? A dark haired woman asked her boyfriend, pushing a cart full of garden supplies. Didn't you hear? An old man said, leaning over his cart of bottled water and canned food. We're in a tornado watch. One touchdown over in Sourville. Tornado? It was definitely storming outside. I'd seen the black clouds roll in from the east earlier, but it didn't look that bad. Do not stay out in the open. I repeat, do not stay out in the open. There was a pause, then an explosion of sound as everyone began to mobilize. Carts rolling, panicked voices, feet slapping on the floor. No, 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 no. This can't be happening. I hurried down the toy aisle, Tucker in my arms, Daniel and Jackson following me. Three zigzaggy turns, and then we were in the electronics area. I glanced at the TVs on the wall and pictured the four of us crushed underneath them. Stay away from windows and doors, the voice continued on the loudspeaker, and do not attempt to exit the store. Is it safe here? Daniel shook his head. Big open areas aren't good. I'm gonna check in back, see if there's a break room or something. You stay here, okay? I nodded. Arms shaking, I sat down on the ground between two shelves of video games. Tucker sucked on a bottle in my arms while Jackson began to giggle. Is the tornado going to hit the store and everything will fly around real fast? He asked with a big stupid grin on his face. I don't know. A tornado. A real life tornado like you see in the movies, plowing through our town. It was so unfathomable. We were New York natives, transplanted here to Indiana only 6 months ago. I'd never been in a tornado watch my entire life. Daniel jogged back into view. Everything's locked up, he said as he joined me on the floor. But listen, Fairview's a big town. The chances that I'll hit this Walmart, I think will be okay. I never should have brought us here. You didn't know. None of us did. He wrapped his arm around me. They should have warned us, like an emergency alert on our phones, or a tornado siren or something. The voice overhead rang out again through the store. Do not stay out in the open. Do not make yourself visible. That includes security cameras. Please move to a spot that is not visible to any security cameras. I frowned. What does that have to do with tornadoes? A feeling of unease in the pit of my stomach. I glanced up and saw several black globes descending from the ceiling, hiding the cameras within. I guess we should listen to them and get out of sight, I whispered. I grabbed Jackson's hand. Daniel picked up Tucker and we jogged down into the center aisle. The store was an eerie sight. Abandoned shopping carts askew in the aisle, full of everything from pies to batteries to plants. Footsteps echoed around the store from people unseen as they found their new hiding places. We dodged a shopping cart full of soda, ran through kitchenwares, and then stopped in the Easter decoration aisle. There was a camera in the central corridor, but as long as we stayed in the middle of the Easter aisle, we'd be invisible. The four of us crouched on the floor next to some demented-looking Easter bunnies. I'm hungry, Jackson whined. Mommy. I grabbed a bag of colorful chocolate eggs and ripped it open. Here, candy. Happy? I whispered, thrusting them into his hands. Then I leaned back against the metal shelves, panting. But I didn't have long to rest. A mechanical whine overhead, and then the voice came through the speakers again. Keep away from aisles with food. If you have food with you, leave it and move to a new hiding place. If you have any open wounds, cover them with clothing. What the fuck? That had nothing to do with keeping safe in a tornado. We should make a run for it, Daniel whispered to me, starting to stand. But the tornado. I don't think there is a tornado. Listen, do you hear any wind? I listened, but all I heard was silence. No howling wind, no shaking ground, no projectiles clanging against the metal roof. Maybe it's still coming. I know that what they're saying doesn't make sense, but to go outside, we need to get out of here now. He grabbed Jackson's hands as he held Tucker in his arms. Come on. Daniel, I don't think that's a good idea, I whispered. But the next words from the intercom changed my mind. Assume a fetal position and place your hands on your head. Close your eyes and do not open them for any reason. Let's go. We broke into a sprint and ran down the central aisle. Cameras be damned. The front door appeared in front of us, a little black rectangle looming in the distance. And as we got closer, I saw Daniel was right. There was a tree at the border of the parking lot under a street lamp. It was perfectly still. We continued running past the clothing area, past the snacks lined up at the checkout lines. I ran towards the sliding glass doors as fast as my legs would carry me. Almost there, almost there, almost. The doors didn't open. No, 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 no. Daniel slammed his body against the door. It rattled underneath him. I tried to squeeze my fingers into the gap between them to try and pull them apart. They didn't budge. They locked us in, I whispered. I want to go home, Jackson said. Tucker was beginning to fuss too, making little noises like he was about to start full-on wailing. I turned around, and that's when I saw him. A Walmart employee. He was sitting on the ground at the end of one of those checkout aisles, facing away from us, wearing the familiar blue vest with a golden starburst. Hey, let us out. He didn't reply. Did you hear me? I don't care if there's a fucking tornado. Unlock the door and let us out. Again, he said nothing. But in the silence, I could hear something. A wet, smacking sound. I stared at the man, slightly hunched over, still facing away from me. Was he eating something? The speaker overhead crackled to life. Attention, please do not talk to any Walmart employees. My blood ran cold. The smacking sound stopped. And then, slowly, the man began to stand. He placed his palms on the conveyor belt and pushed up, and I could see that they were stained with blood. I backed away, but my legs felt like they were moving through a vat of honey. No, no, no. Fingers locked around my arm and yanked. Come on, Daniel shouted. I sprinted after him, deeper into the store. Tucker stared at me over his shoulder, and Jackson ran as fast as his little feet would take him. I was vaguely aware of the slap, slap, slap sound behind me, but I didn't dare look back. Daniel ran to the clothing area, and I swayed, dodging circular racks of t-shirts and wooden displays of baby clothes. He skipped to his stop and ducked into the dressing room area. In here, he whispered, motioning at one of the rooms. We piled inside and locked the door. Daddy, Jackson started. You listen to me very carefully, I said, crouching to his level. You have to be absolutely silent. Do not say a word, okay? Jackson looked at me, then Daniel. Then he nodded and sat down on the floor. I'm going to try calling 911, Daniel whispered, transferring Tucker to me and pulling out his phone. He tapped on the screen, then frowned. What? We don't have any service. I don't... Thump. I grabbed Jackson and pulled him away from the door. The four of us huddled in the corner. I held my breath. Thump. Under the gap of the dressing room door, men's feet in black shoes. They slowly took a step forward, deeper into the dressing room. Don't move, I whispered, holding Jackson. The man took another step. Don't make a sound. Don't move. Don't. Tucker let out a soft cry. The man stopped, his feet turned, pointing at us. No, 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 no. Tucker let out another cry, louder this time. My nails dug into Daniel's hand. No. A hand appeared. It slowly pressed against the floor, stained with blood. And then his knees appeared as he lowered himself down to the gap. No. Could he fit under? The gap wasn't small. It was like the stall door to a bathroom. If he flattened himself against the floor, there's a good chance he could fit under. I watched in horror as his stomach came into view. His blue Walmart vest as he lowered his body to the floor. Then he pushed his arm under the gap and blindly swept it across the floor, as if feeling for us. This is it. We're going to die. And then he lowered his head. His face. Oh, God, there was something horribly wrong with his face. He smiled up at us with a smile that was impossibly wide, showing off blood-stained teeth. His skin was so pale it was nearly blue, and his eyes, they were milky white, without pupils or irises. I opened my mouth to scream. "Attention shoppers," the voice began overhead. "No, no, no. Please make your way to the front of the store and make your final purchases. We'll be closing in 10 minutes. What? And then, before I could react, something unseen jerked the man out of view. A strange dragging sound followed, as if someone was dragging his body out of the dressing room area. I stared at the door, shaking, as Tucker's cries rang in my ears, but he didn't come back. And within 10 minutes, the usual hubbub of Walmart returned. Voices, footsteps, shopping cart wheels rolling along the floor. Shaking, I finally got up and unlocked the door. The store looked completely normal. People were lined up at the cash registers, placing their goods on the conveyor belts. Employees were scanning tags, printing receipts. People walked towards the glass doors, and when they did, they slid open. As we slowly walked towards the exit, I spotted the older man who'd warned us about the tornado earlier. What was that?" I asked, unable to keep my voice from shaking. He shrugged. "I guess the tornado missed us. What a miracle, huh?" Giving us a smile, he disappeared out the glass doors and into the night.
My
That's
God.
it.
That one also had me like, what the fuck?
Yeah, right? Oh, what you think, Maine?
First off, a couple holes that I. At what point? When did Daniel show back up? Like he dipped off to like go check
When
for.
they were in the electronics aisle, he went to look in the back to see if
Right,
he could get
but
back
when did
there,
he
but then
come back?
almost immediately.
Oh, I thought he had like dipped off to the back and like left for a minute. That's why when they like grabbed her hand and was like, "Let's go," I was like, "When the fuck did Daniel come back?"
Yeah, nah, he let me see if I can't find it again. Ba 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 ba. No, that was when they went running. Yeah, nah, he came back like very quickly, saying something about like not able to.
It probably is a true story. Every so often, they have to feed the soul of Walmart.
Yeah. Well, instead they just do that with money.
I don't
Corporate
think I
soul
don't
feeding.
I don't think that money satiates Walmart anymore.
Yeah, money. Too rich for their own good.
Well, you saw that South Park episode, right, about the whole like Walmart thing.
I don't believe so. I mean, probably, but
You disappoint me.
I definitely have. I'm not remembering it off the top of my head.
It's the one where like a Walmart opens in South Park and it like kills all the businesses around, but then like because like everybody's going there and it's like drawing to like it calls to them at night and they're just like finding any reason to go to the Walmart. And
Yeah.
then they go to the head guy and they're like, "You gotta, take this Walmart out of the town." And he's like, "Shh, shh, don't say that, don't say that." And he's like talking, but he's like writing on like a piece of paper so that like the Walmart can't hear him. And then the Walmart just like makes him kill himself.
Oh my god. I don't remember this. I mean,
Dude, you
think I've
have to
seen
watch
every
this.
episode, so like I feel like I for sure have at some point. I gotta go back and rewatch that. But yeah. I you went South Park with it. I was gonna say it's like Epstein Island, where money doesn't satiate those fucks anymore. So now they take children to an island.
Yeah. I went the lighter route. You went the darker
I went.
route.
I mean, you heard about my childhood. You know why I'm so fucked up.
Yeah. Yeah. No. It all makes sense now.
Hey, that was something that like me and my dad did to bond was watch horror movies.
Yeah, my dad. We didn't used to do that, but then at one point I got into like a horror movie kick, and he used to like come in at inopportune moments, and then he wouldn't leave, and he'd just want to watch the rest of it. And then
Yeah,
I would get terrified. Like me and my friends would be screaming, and my dad would just sit there in the recliner and laugh.
yeah. I still remember. This is a good memory for me though. Was the movie theater in my like hometown. Uh, occasionally would like rerun like old movies. Like during like Halloween would occasionally like run an old horror movie or something. You know, Christmas time running like old like Home Alone movies, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Um, so I would have been like 12, maybe 13 or something. I might have even been younger. I think I was probably around 12. And they were rerunning like the original like Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah.
And so my dad took me to see it. It was the first time I saw like an R-rated movie in theaters with him. It was a good time.
Yeah, I think one of the first like really scary horror movies that I had ever watched. I was probably like 7 and I wanted my older brother to watch something with me. So he put on Jeepers Creepers and I cried and I did not watch it. And then
Ah, okay.
that's where I developed the fear of horror movies.
Well, that and I knew you've always had a thing about Jeepers Creepers
Yep.
specifically.
I've never finished that movie and I probably never
Oh, you
will.
got it. I like the first one.
That
The
was the one he put on and it scared me and I
the
cried.
first one's pretty good because they do the whole thing of like you don't really see the monster besides like silhouettes and like stuff of it until the end. I think you see like half of its face.
Yeah.
But then, like the second and the third movie, they're I don't know, they kind of sucked because they were just like, here's the monster, and it's kind of lame. And then the
Yeah.
monster's like the main character. It's like,
I
all
hate
right.
I hate when they ruin movies with the second
That's
movie.
why Jaws was so good because you barely saw the shark.
Yeah, it's all the psychological horror
Yeah,
of it.
exactly. Just leaving it up to your imaginative fear.
Yes. Also, that South Park episode, it's season 8, episode 9. Watch it.
Jesus. Did you look it up or did you
I
actually
did.
just know that?
No,
Okay, I
I
was gonna say if you just pulled that, like just knowing it off the
dialing the
top of your head,
hotline as we speak.
yeah. I was gonna say, I mean, there's enjoying a show, and then there's like telling, pulling an episode and the season, like just
Dude,
right off.
that's the stuff my niece does. She like watches Are You Afraid of the Dark and then she'll be like, "Oh, did you watch season 2 episode 23?" Like and she knows everything, like all the
Exactly what
episodes.
happened.
Yeah.
See,
I'm
here's the
like,
thing,
I
though.
do not because I have no idea what episodes or
She's
seasons
your
anything is
niece,
in.
and I feel like you could do that with Scooby Doo.
Yeah, you're probably right. Except I know them by like the name of the episode most of the time,
Not
not
much better,
which
man.
number. No, it's not. It's just a different version of what she does.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yet another reason to remind me.
yeah.
She
Yeah.
really is me.
So let me throw this out there to you, though. I've been trying to. So I saw this horror movie when I was like super young, and I don't
Mhm.
remember a single thing about the movie except for this one scene where there was a girl swimming in a pool, and it had one of those like retractable pool covers that's like hard on top,
Uh,
and it like it was something about like a haunted like it was supposed to be like set in the future and it was like an AI kind of thing that like ran the house, but then it got like possessed or like haunted by like a ghost or it just went evil. I can't remember. It was like killing off the people there. And it wasn't like it wasn't like all houses were like this. It was like this group of people like won a vacation to like go and live in this house or like stay in this house just to see like what the future's like kind of thing. But there was one scene in it where like the girl's swimming in the pool like at night and like she's swimming underwater and the thing like pulls the cover across and it like traps her underwater and she drowns.
Yeah.
I saw this movie when I was like super young. I remember that scene specifically freaked me out, but I have not been able to figure out what that movie is for the life of me.
It's interesting to me that that was like such a like a slightly like traumatizing thing to you as a child, and then you became a swimmer.
I face my fears, man.
Yeah. Well, that
I
is the
mean,
difference between us.
well, I mean, I'm gonna sound super insufferable here, but fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past, I will turn the inner eye to see its path. Where the fear is gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain.
Get out of here with your Dune quotes.
Yeah, I've been reading the book, man. I'm gonna be insufferable for a while.
Going to be? No, I'm just kidding.
Always insufferable, but I'm gonna be Dune insufferable for a while. I haven't even seen the second movie yet, but like I started reading the book, and my God, it's so good.
Yeah, I just got some new books that I'm pretty stoked about. But
Is
speaking
one
of
of them
like
Dune?
that, no, it's not.
Then you're
But
wrong.
speaking of that like the haunted house thing that you were talking about, I don't know that movie per se, but one of the most messed up Disney movies to come out, I feel like, was Smart House because it's about a
I
family. They
vaguely
lose the
remember that.
mom. Yeah, they lose the mom. They move into this house where the like computer AI runs the house, and then like basically it's like taking over and trying to like keep the family trapped.
Yeah,
And then basically they have to like kill the second mother, like
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah,
house, like,
yeah.
but
The
they
house
like
mother, where it's like,
develop. Yeah, but like it made like a physical form that they were seeing.
yeah,
And like, they had like developed a love for it. So like basically they had to like kill the mom. I was like, well, that's pretty messed up for this Disney movie.
that it is. But yeah, that's where this horror movie was like a very similar premise, actually, if I remember right. Like I said, I don't
Disney
remember
just
most
ripped
of the
them off.
movie that
No.
clearly. It was just this one scene that I really remember
Yeah.
because I was very young when I saw it. But that was like one of the first like horror movies that like freaked me out like that. But then I became obsessed with them, and then like you said, this scene being a swimmer drowning and getting
Mm.
freaked out by it, then I became a competitive swimmer and got pretty good at it. So
Yeah.
face my fears. Should do the same. Speaking of which, come
I,
rock climbing with me sometime.
why can't it ever start small like the Ferris wheel?
I'll get
I
you over your
still,
fear of heights real fast.
yeah, karate kick me off of the top of the cliff.
I'll just set you up on like a 60-foot rappel.
Mm.
Give you a fireman's belay at the bottom just in case you like pass out from fear.
You've succeeded. You've freaked me out.
Oh, you know what? I could literally just do it top rope style and just put you on belay and just lower you. That way, even if you did freak out like crazy, I would still like have you
Which I would.
secured. Yeah. But okay, with that, I think we call her there.
Yep, I think so.
Ending on some more horror movie talks after a freaky grocery store. And you got anything else to add before we sign out?
Nope, just join us again next week for a new written story by me, and hopefully we'll have that one we're writing together done.
Yeah, I'm still working on this one as well. That like I don't know, I've kind of hit a wall with it. I don't. I might scrap it. I'm not super happy with how it's turning out so far. We'll see. Maybe I'll make it work.
Yeah.
So I guess with the two of us here from Can You Scare Me? Hope you
Yep.
have a spoopy week.
Yep. Have a have a spooky week and have some scary dreams, courtesy of us.
Make Halloween every day.
It already is for me.